What's going on, everyone? Going to history, and today we are here at a Publix supermarket just outside of Walt Disney World here in Orlando, Florida. And we are here because this is not a ordinary Publix. It wasn't that long ago that all of this land was just cattle fields and orange groves. And much of this land has been bought up and has been developed. We have ball fields, we have restaurants being opened, we have apartment buildings across the street. But at one point in time, this wasn't just the only things you could find here. This land used to be owned by a guy by the name of Scott Henderson, and he owned 5 acres of land around here, and he sold all of the land except for a 25-foot by 25-foot plot. And it's just behind me. And that's the reason why we're here today, is to take a look at this 25-foot by 25-foot plot that has a very interesting residence, you should say. If you already clicked on the title, you already kind of know what the story of this video is about, but what's a little bit of suspense sometimes. So, the reason why this cemetery, I already told you, the reason why this video is so unique is the fact of the matter is this Publix has a cemetery in its parking lot. It has 2 residents, both of which are Civil War soldiers. The cemetery was created in 1924 and it still stays today. According to Scott Henderson, when he sold the land to the developers who created the Publix and all the other properties, he purposely took and did not sell the 25-foot by 25-foot plot. However, whoever were to buy this land would have to develop it and would have to preserve the land. So even though he owns the cemetery still technically, it's Publix's job to make sure it's maintained. Or whoever owns this property, it's job to maintain it. And people would say, well, why didn't they just remove it? We're going to talk about that. You actually can't just move remains. If you knowingly know that a cemetery is placed somewhere, you can't just pick up and move the remains. It has to be preserved. There's actually a Florida statute that ensures that. And doing my research, I actually came across a response from a surveyor who was actually doing the surveying for this area. And he talked about, the whole process of what happened with that cemetery and how originally there was some scrubs put around it to kind of protect the headstones. But since then, Publix, whoever owns this lot directly, decided to put the gate around, which we'll look at in just a second. You're probably thinking, come on, dude, let's just show us the graves. So we're going to check it out right now. Just kind of feeling out things. I know Publixes can be kind of strange sometimes when it comes to filming. I've seen in the past that people have been run off from their parking lots, so I'm kind of just gauging to kind of see, even though technically that plant property back there is technically not theirs, this parking lot is. So just feeling things out for a second, but I think the coast is clear. Let's go check it out. So yeah, it's super windy today. I heard gusts about 15 to 25 miles per hour. We see right here at Violent Cemetery, we have the 2 headstones. We have Corporal Ludwig. He was in the New York Artillery Division. And then we have Mr. Foster. He was in the 3rd Massachusetts Cavalry. They both fought in the Civil War. They both were laid to rest here. From all the history records I was able to find, 1924 is the original date that the cemetery was originally created. So these individuals must have passed either sometime around that point in time. But now, yeah, it's just here in the middle of a development. You have Jersey Mike's over here, Mediterranean Kitchen. Looks like Peter's Dockside is either about to open or has opened. Helicopter flying over, probably one of the ones that does the Orlando scenic views. Yeah, the Florida statute is actually Florida Statute 872-02, which prohibits the knowing destruction of a cemetery. So it's probably one of the main reasons why the cemetery is held intact as of today, is because once they found out this was a final resting place, it could not be removed. You couldn't move these individuals, they couldn't destroy their headstones, they couldn't be reinterred without the consent of the families to want to do so. So maybe the families can't be found, maybe they have no desire to move, but this is essentially a military veteran cemetery. And these two individuals were Civil War veterans. It's definitely getting to that time of the day, but it's really hard to see with the sun's especially right there. Yeah, as you can see, cemetery in the middle of a parking lot. A couple people have been out here before. It's been on my list of to-dos. I've been around here a lot recently, just have not been able to make it here. A couple of people who've been here before me and kind of sparked the motivations. Ready with Rich was the first one that I noticed directly coming out here. Wordle Micah just came out here a few days ago, put up his video yesterday, and he had some questions. His questions were, why are these graves here? Who were they? Why couldn't they just be removed? Why couldn't they just be picked up and taken somewhere else? So hopefully this video answers a couple of those questions. There's a Florida statute that actually prohibits the knowing removal or destruction of a cemetery. The other reasons is this land is technically owned by Scott Henderson. He owns the property technically, this 25 by 25 foot plot, and he has no plans on having it moved. He has since he's working on a historic plaque he would like to have placed here, so maybe that might happen here in the near future. Maybe that's something to be done by the state. I'm not sure what all entails with that. I know there's a financial component to that. If there is, I don't know. I guess he has to figure that one out. But yeah, so here we are. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick little video here from probably one of the smallest cemeteries around. Definitely one of the smallest cemeteries on private public land, kind of, ish, not. But, yeah, so I may add a few extra voiceovers. Maybe I find out a little bit more historical stuff about this video, about these two graves. To help answer the questions of maybe if they live in this property, was this property designated as a burial ground originally? Was this part of another area of the community? I will take and see what I can find historically. If I can't find anything, then I will upload the video as is, and then I will take and come back again. It's not too far away, and update you all on this cemetery. So, as always, continue with History and Film. Subscribe to the channel for more. Catch you guys in the next video. So much more in store. And we're about maybe 5 minutes from Disney, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get myself a pub sub, because why not? Have a great day, everyone. So I just got back from going inside the Publix, and I just remembered while I was in Publix, the most important reason why it cannot be removed, besides the fact that there's a Florida statute. The Florida statute carries with it a third-degree felony as a punishment if anyone knowingly destroys or removes a cemetery remains without with having prior knowledge. So essentially, if they had no idea they moved in the middle of construction or something, that's one thing. But if there's clearly marked graves and you knowingly just ignore that, it's a third-degree felony. So yeah. And I also tried to do a quick search into the backstories of the individuals. Washington is potentially maybe somewhat promising. Unfortunately, the other interred individual, not so much. Foster, on the other hand, there is like 5 Fosters in history. One is in Massachusetts, but he was a medium seancist. Lady almost hit my car. Okay. She literally almost just took the back end off my car. And I don't know why she had to do that. Maybe she wanted to go in my video. I don't know. She didn't have to hit my car. She could have just drove up next to us and said, hey, have you in your video? But nonetheless, Fosters, like some North Carolina Fosters. There's one guy who tried to run for Congress. There's one in Massachusetts. He was a seancist, which I'm pretty sure is not this individual because it said nothing about the Civil War, but it did say he died in the 1880s, so maybe. But anyhow, yeah. Subscribe to the channel. Catch you in the next video. Have a good day, everyone.